fine. With all the, I think I had two full stacks just about of regular minecart rails that I had picked up in the abandoned mine shafts, and just about used both of them up. Getting this done. It's fine. I left plenty more down there. Alright, so let's, I've got no powered rails between the 2 points. So we're going to power this up and see how far this will take us. And there's a difference between how far it will move occupied versus unoccupied. So I guess let's start with unoccupied in case I decide I want to have some method that it will send empty cart one way or the other. Like if I walk in here instead of taking the cart and I need the cart. It'd be nice to have that. It's not something I'm going to do today, but it's good to plan out for the future. So let's just send this unoccupied. Doesn't get very far. Let's just start replacing these out here. Now just have some experimentation, because I think if you add more of them in a row, it'll ramp up the speed on it. So let's see how far we can push it with that. Might make it more efficient. Now we'll leave that break piece there, and when these are on power, they just break it, so it's useful for keeping me from having to run all the way to the other end. So let's see how we do with these 3 right there. Doesn't quite make it to that one. Alright, so what I've got, some testing with this, is I'm not really sure if this is more or less efficient, or if I can do this better way, but I imagine I'll keep playing with this until I get a pretty good handle on it, but I just want to get something, you know, wrapped up for right now. So I've got these spaced 14 regular tracks apart, and then I've got a row of 3 powered rails, and then 14, and 3, and 14, and that's only, what, 5 or 6 away to you know, account for that initial speed bump. So let's see if we can get this all the way over there. Just barely. Just barely rolls up to it. So I think that's going to work. Not terribly worried about the efficiency of the empty cart, because I can adjust that later. It'd be nice if it worked straight out, but you know, I can always fiddle with that when I have an actual cart return system. Okay, I've got went and got some more gold from the main base, made some more gold tracks, a little bit extra, and that's fine, I'll use those later. Pretty consistent throughout. I think down at the end there the spacing's off by 1 or 2 just to kind of even out the space, and I could probably pull all these back, you know, one space here to make it totally even throughout if I want to get piggy with it, and I probably will at some point in the future. Now a lot of people would say, and this is based on other setups I've seen, to have the track set up in such a way so that it can't, you know, make it all the way down without a rider in it, and that kind of prevents the runaway cart, where if you accidentally push this button and don't get in, you can catch up with the cart before it gets to the other side. Really, it doesn't move fast enough that you can't run after it and catch up to it. And you know, I could get really crazy with it and have the cart come from a completely separate area, just like stored somewhere, and have the call switch roll it out to these start points for me to take it out on a ride. That makes more sense if you've got like a bigger track setup that's going between different points in just a 2 destination setup like this. That seems kind of excessive, but who knows, maybe I'll put something like that together anyway, and it'll be practice for if I ever want to do something crazier with the carts. But I'm pretty happy with this right now. So let's just roll it down the track without a rider, and then I'll hop in and take it down, and yeah, check it out. As you can see, There's rarely a point in this that I couldn't catch up to it, because it barely makes those, and that is by design, basically, so that I don't have to use any more of these powered tracks than I need to get it to move from point to point. And as long as nothing ever gets in here and steals my cart or gets in the way of it, it should be fine. Alright, so let's take this for a spin. Works pretty well. Now there's no sound for the mine carts, but if you're liking the sound, you can just do this. Yes. Riding the rails. That works pretty well. Pretty well. The one thing to watch out for is when you get in and out of the cart, it will kind of scoot it around a little bit, and that could throw this off. So I just got out and I kind of bumped it out of the wall there. So let's see how that affects it. Yeah, it seems like it's still going. You know, still just barely connects up. More than likely we'll come back through with the redstone torch on these. Replace this with the redstone torch under it. Or something to conceal these more, because those look kind of ugly just sitting out there. But it works. And this will provide me with a quicker, safer way to get between my nether portal that goes between here and my home base and the zombie spawn. So that is exciting. Sweet! This is the first time I've actually built something with minecart tracks in this video series. I've built some stuff before, but nothing real fancy. And in fact, the last time I really played around with the minecart tracks was before they added the power rails. And it was back when they had this weird-ass setup called boosting, where if you had two carts on parallel tracks collide with each other, it would cause them both to speed up. And so there was a lot of little tricks you could do to get the cart to move on its own. And I had a minecart track that went from bedrock up to the surface level to take me between my mine. I was pretty proud of it. I just used boosters so that every couple of levels, as it circled up the out of the bedrock level mine I had, it had a cart it would run into that would cause it to accelerate, and it worked pretty well. In fact, I have fond memories of that goofy track setup that no longer works. And if I ever go back to the original world, I'm just going to get stuck somewhere because I have so many weird methods of transportation that don't work anymore. Anyway, I was riding that cart, and the first time I played the game after they re-added slimes into the game, I'm riding my cart down and I hear this horrible wet slapping noise, which I now know is the slimes. I had never seen it before. I had no idea what it was. And the cart turns the corner and just shoves me face first into this giant slime, which promptly murdered me. And that was pretty funny. I also had a couple areas that weren't lit up enough, so every once in a while I'd go down to the mine, I'd turn around, there'd be a zombie or a creeper riding my cart up on me, and I actually got run over and killed by that a couple times. So pretty humorous. Not gonna happen here. Not today. Not to Jum. Nice rewarding bath. Seasoned with some zombie flesh. Really does the trick after a hard day of digging out tunnels. So I did some tests, some comparison testing on the different traps, my skeleton spawner and the zombie spawner here, and I wasn't too surprised by the results. The zombie spawner is a bit more efficient. What I did is I just left them both running 15 minutes. You know, went and got a snack, checked my email, listened to some music, and then came back and saw what kind of numbers I got. 15 minutes in the zombie spawner gets me 240 zombies, and 15 minutes in the skeleton spawner only got me 180 skeletons. I think the difference there is that I've got a slightly more efficient design. Some of the skeletons get drowned on that going up that elevator, and when they fall they end up dying if they don't just drown to death outright coming up there. It's a little odd that the undead are able to drown. Like, they can survive without flesh or internal organs, but not without oxygen. Now, out of those zombies, I got a couple fancy rare drops. I got 4 iron swords, 2 iron helmets, and 2 iron... I've written down shields here. There's no such thing as shields. Shovels, I'm sure, is what I meant. I've also taken to sustaining myself with the zombie flesh here, and I know what you're thinking. I know you're thinking, you know, Jum, that's cannibalism. That's horrible. You're eating meat that dropped off of the living dead. You know, I've got tons and tons of it. I mean, just look at all this. All right, and that's not even half of it, because I'm sure I've thrown tons of this away. But in fact, let me just stock up here. You know, you only have an 80% chance of catching hunger, right? So I only have an 80% chance of becoming addicted to human flesh. You know, it's not 100. You know, I've got a 20% window there. That's a nice sizable window that I'm not going to become some sort of, you know, hideous, pale-faced, subterranean cannibal monster here. Oh, God. All right, so we're working on this zombie spawner project for a while now. Got a good couple episodes out of this. And obviously, it's still in a really raw state. I mean, the mechanism itself is functional, but move away from this water here. There's no, I don't have a central control method to turn the spawner rooms on and off. It's all located on the spawner. This is all real rough, and obviously this cactus wall, I mean, that's just kind of meh. You know, it's okay for temporary, but I wouldn't want to leave this permanent here. So this is going to take, you know, a fair bit more work to get to a nice aesthetically pleasing level. But I've been spending so much time on this that it's time for something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more like adrenaline pumping. And I got this giant cave back in here, and I really am just dying to check this out. Now my friend Matt, who's also playing around with the same seed, he has these same caves in his world that he's been exploring. He's been telling me, you know, oh, I got 100 iron in an hour down there, and they're just massive. He hasn't really given me any details on it, but I'm pretty excited about checking this out. Now, I'm playing on hard now, so these caves are a little bit more terrifying, and add to that, I haven't really done any cave exploration since they updated the mob AI, so I'm a little worried about my chances of surviving this. I think I'll do all right, but I think I'm going to have to worry a lot more about the mobs. And so I thought, why not get some help? And that help is going to take the form of a wolf, which I probably have not seen before in these videos. Wolves spawn in certain biomes, usually in forest biomes, and they spawn in packs. And they just kind of wander around, so they can be a little bit tricky to find. And when you do find them, you can feed them bones that you get from skeletons. And I mean, geez, I've got tons and tons of these things. I got a whole box full, and I end up throwing tons away every time I use that skeleton spawner to get some XP. So that's not going to be a problem for me. Probably going to want to take a nap here and wait till morning, and then we'll run out there and see if we can track down some wolves, because I'm going to need some backup on this adventure. Well, there's monsters in there. Oh! New day has dawned here in the village. I'm off to find a wolf. Fellas. I was wondering when these guys are just going to wander off into the desert to die. Now luckily, thanks to the new breeding mechanics, I'm not really worried about this village ever running out of villagers. But, I don't know, I guess I do kind of worry about, you know, if one of them falls down a pit. I've seen some horror stories online. What? Oh my gosh. There's one right here. Let me finish my thought while I chase this wolf down. Where the hell did you come from? Oh, I guess they are in that forest right over there. Sweet deal. So, oh, there's a cave or something right below us. Interesting. Anyway, I've seen some horror stories online with, you know, villagers that had fallen in these little holes underground and then secretly brought up an army. And so, you know, you go walking through the area and suddenly notice terrible lag because there's 700 villagers in this tiny cave underground. I don't think I'm going to have to worry about that, but, hell, you never know. Let's see if we can tame this guy. Oh, it's the Jubei!